Have you ever sat in front of a book, reading the same sentence again and again, only to realize you can't recall a single word? Have you ever walked into a room, stood there for a few seconds, and completely forgotten why you came in? Have you ever met someone new, shook their hand, smiled politely, and then seconds later, their name slipped out of your mind like water leaking from a broken cup? These moments seem small, almost funny, but if you are honest with yourself, they scare you because deep down, you wonder, am I losing my mind? Or worse, am I wasting my life because I cannot hold on to the very things I need most? Memory is not just about exams, not just about remembering phone numbers or shopping lists. Memory is your identity. Memory is your power. Without memory, you cannot learn. Without memory, you cannot grow. Without memory, you cannot even dream, because every dream is built on what you already know. And here's the truth. You do not have to accept a weak memory. You do not have to keep forgetting. You do not have to watch yourself fade. You can train your mind, sharpen your recall, and boost your brain until people look at you in shock and say, "How do you remember everything?" But let me ask you something harder. If you really want to change your memory, if you want to unlock that hidden genius inside of you, what did you do today to get closer? Did you practice? Did you read? Did you train your brain with focus? Or did you once again scroll through endless posts, drown yourself in noise, and tell yourself, maybe tomorrow? Listen carefully. Tomorrow is a lie. Tomorrow is an excuse. The only memory you can control is the one you build today. Imagine this. You're sitting in an exam hall, the paper in front of you filled with questions. Everyone else is writing furiously, and your mind is blank. Your heart beats fast, your palms sweat, and the harder you try to recall, the emptier your head feels. That's failure. Now imagine another scene. You walk into a meeting, your boss is speaking, and suddenly he asks you to present without notes. Most people would panic, but you smile, stand up, and every point you studied flows out of you like a river, smooth, confident, unstoppable. That's power. Which person do you want to be? For years, I watched people suffer with bad memory. Students who gave up on English because they couldn't remember new words. Workers who lost opportunities because they forgot details. Parents who forgot the dreams they once had for their own lives. And then there was Mark. He was like you, always distracted, always forgetting. He wanted to be fluent in English, but every word slipped away. He tried books, apps, classes, but nothing stuck. He was ready to quit. One day he said, "Maybe I'm just not smart enough." But he was wrong. And if you've ever whispered those same words to yourself, listen closely. You are wrong too. It's not about intelligence. It's about strategy. It's about training. It's about rewiring your brain to work for you instead of against you. Think of your brain as a muscle. When you go to the gym, you don't expect to lift 100 kilos on the first day. You start small, build strength, train consistently. Memory works the same way. You can transform it, but only if you train it. And the training begins with one brutal truth. Your brain is lazy. Yes, lazy. It doesn't want to store new information. It doesn't want to remember. It wants to survive with the least effort. That's why you forget names, why you forget words, why you forget dreams. But here's the miracle. You can force it to wake up. You can build systems so powerful that your brain has no choice but to remember. Do you want to know the first secret? Attention. If you don't pay attention, you can't remember. Most people think they forget because their brain is weak. No, they forget because they never really noticed in the first place. Think about it. When someone tells you their name, are you truly listening? Or are you already thinking of what you'll say next? When you read an English word, are you fully focused? Or are you half distracted by your phone buzzing in your pocket? Attention is the gatekeeper of memory. Close the gate, and nothing gets in. Open it wide, and your memory becomes unstoppable. Now, I want you to picture this. You, standing in a crowded place. People talking, noise everywhere. Someone walks up to you, introduces themselves, and this time, you lock eyes. You repeat their name in your head 3 times. You connect it with something funny or strong in your imagination. Mark, like Mark from Titanic, holding on to the ship. Suddenly, the name sticks. Hours later, you still remember it. That's not magic. That's method. That's training. And if you can remember a name like this, you can remember anything. English words, important facts, even entire speeches. But before we dive deeper into the methods, I need to shake you awake because many of you are still sleeping. You say you want freedom. You say you want success. You say you want fluency, but your actions betray you. You spend hours consuming nonsense, but you give your brain 0 exercise. You feed your body with junk. You feed your mind with distractions, and then you cry when you can't remember. Stop lying to yourself. Stop pretending it will fix itself. You must take control. Every second you waste is memory lost. Every day you delay is a piece of your future gone forever. Do you want to look back 10 years from now, realizing you forgot not only words and facts, but also opportunities, relationships, dreams? Or do you want to look back and say, I built a mind like steel. I created a memory that never failed me. The choice is yours, and it starts now. So let's get real. You want a powerful memory. You want to be the kind of person who never forgets names, who speaks English fluently without searching for words, who remembers every lesson, every story, every opportunity. Then you must treat your brain like sacred ground. You must stop poisoning it with habits that destroy your recall. The first poison is distraction. Every notification, every meaningless scroll, every jump from one video to another is breaking your attention into 1,000 tiny fragments. And when your attention is fragmented, your memory cannot form. Picture trying to plant a seed in soil that is constantly being shaken and dug up. Nothing will grow. That's your brain on distraction. So the first commandment is this: protect your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. The second poison is passivity. Reading words without imagining them, listening without engaging, taking notes but never reviewing. Your brain doesn't remember what you touch lightly. It remembers what you live deeply. Think of the things you never forget: your first heartbreak, your first success, your first failure. Why? Because you felt them. Because your emotions branded them into your mind like fire. So if you want to remember English vocabulary, don't just glance at it. Tie it to a picture, a sound, a story, something that makes your heart move. Passive learning is death. Active learning is life. And the third poison is excuses. I'm too old. I'm too busy. I'm not smart enough. Lies. All of them. Let me tell you the truth. Your brain can grow at any age. If you train it, there are men in their 70s who learn new languages, women in their 80s who memorize poetry, children who overcome learning struggles and rise above every label. The only enemy is the voice in your head whispering, "Not you." But that voice is a liar. You must silence it with action. Let's go back to Mark. Remember him? The young man who wanted to learn English but kept forgetting every word? At first, he blamed his brain. Then he blamed the language. Then he blamed his teacher. But one night, sitting in his small apartment, frustrated and ready to quit, he made a choice. He decided he would treat his memory like a muscle. He would train it. He would fight for it. And that's when everything began to change. He started with names. Every person he met, he made a picture in his mind. Sarah became Sarah with a shining star on her shoulder. Daniel became Daniel wrestling lions in the Bible. These silly images burned the names into his memory. And guess what? People noticed. They smiled when he remembered. They respected him more, and his confidence grew. Then he attacked English vocabulary. Instead of writing a word once and forgetting it, he created stories. The word journey wasn't just a word. It became a scene of himself walking through mountains, carrying a bag, sweating, but smiling. The word freedom wasn't just letters. It became the feeling of running through an open field. The wind on his face, shouting at the sky. The brain loves images. The brain loves emotions. That's how memory locks in. But he didn't stop there. He discovered the power of repetition. Not boring, mindless repetition, but smart, spaced repetition. He reviewed words today, then tomorrow, then 3 days later, then a week later. Each time, the memory became stronger, like hammering a nail deeper into wood with every strike. The knowledge became permanent, and slowly, his identity shifted. He was no longer the guy with a bad memory. He became the guy who remembers everything. Do you see the difference? That's what's waiting for you. Not just a sharper brain, but a new self. But let me ask you this. How many times in your life have you promised to change and then stopped halfway? How many times have you started a course, a book, a routine, only to abandon it because it was hard, or boring, or you didn't see results fast enough? Be honest. Your memory didn't fail you. Your consistency did. And consistency is the real secret. Imagine a farmer planting seeds. He waters them one day and then leaves for a month. Will anything grow? No. But if he waters them daily, patiently, faithfully, the harvest comes. Your brain is the same. You don't need one big dramatic action. You need daily, faithful training. 10 minutes today, 10 minutes tomorrow. Repeat it until your mind is unshakable. Now I want to challenge you. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself 1 year from now. You walk into a room full of people and you remember every face, every name. You speak English smoothly, recalling words and phrases instantly. You give a presentation without notes, and people are stunned at your clarity. You feel powerful, alive, limitless. That is not a fantasy. That is a possible future if you start today. But also imagine another version of you. 1 year later, still forgetting, still doubting, still making excuses. Which future will you choose? Both are waiting. One leads to strength, the other to regret. And the only difference is action. So let's begin right now. Repeat after me. I will train my memory. I will fight for my focus. I will no longer waste my brain. Say it again. Let the words echo in your chest. Because this is not just about learning English. This is about your life. This is about whether you live sharp, awake, and powerful, or whether you drift through the years in a fog. Forgetting not only words, but also your purpose. Time is the thief. Every day it steals from you. But memory is the shield. If you build it strong, time cannot rob you so easily. If you build it weak, time will strip you bare. Do you want to be remembered as someone who wasted their mind, or as someone who mastered it? Your memory is your weapon. But what good is a weapon if you never sharpen it? What good is a sword if it lies rusting in its sheath? The truth is, most people live with a dull mind, not because they were born that way, but because they never trained it. And the moment life asks them to fight, an exam, a presentation, a conversation, they realize too late their sword is blunt, their shield is weak, and they are unprepared. I don't want that to be you. I want you to walk into every challenge with a sharp, unstoppable mind. But to do that, you must commit to training, and training means practice. Daily practice. relentless practice. Think of your brain as clay. It can be shaped, molded, stretched, but only if you work it with your hands every single day. Leave it untouched, and it hardens into weakness. Let me tell you a story. There was once a boy named David. He was shy, quiet, always hiding in the back of the classroom. Teachers thought he wasn't bright because he never answered questions. But the truth was, he remembered nothing. He would study at night, try to memorize. But the next morning it was gone. He felt broken. One day, his teacher asked him to recite a poem, and he froze. The words had vanished. His classmates laughed. That laugh burned his soul. That night, David made a vow. He would never let his memory humiliate him again. So he began to search. He read about ancient Greeks who memorized entire books, about monks who remembered thousands of prayers, about memory champions who could recall hundreds of numbers. How did they do it? Were they superhuman? No, they used methods. They used imagination. They used systems. David tried them. At first, it felt strange, turning numbers into images, turning words into stories, turning facts into pictures. But slowly, his brain woke up. Slowly, he discovered that he could remember not 10 words, not 20, but 100, 1,000, entire speeches. Years later, that same boy became a speaker. The same classmates who once laughed at him now sat in his audience, astonished as he spoke for an hour without notes. His memory had become his strength. And here's the point. David is not different from you. His brain was not better than yours. He simply chose to train. Now, let me give you something practical. You want to remember English vocabulary? Here's what you do. Take a new word. For example, resilient. Don't just read it. Don't just repeat it. Close your eyes. Imagine a tree in a storm. The wind bends it. The rain beats it. But it doesn't break. It stands tall. That tree is resilient. Do you see what I just did? I gave your brain a picture, a feeling, a story. That's how memory works. The stranger and more vivid the picture, the stronger the memory. Do it again with another word, generous. Picture a man opening his wallet and giving away gold coins that turn into sunlight as they fall into other people's hands. That's generous. Yes. Now, when you hear the word, your brain recalls the golden light, the open hand, the feeling of giving, and suddenly, you never forget it. This is not a game. This is science. Your brain stores images far better than plain words. Your brain loves the unusual, the emotional, the dramatic. Use this truth, and your memory will explode with power. Ignore it, and you will keep struggling, keep forgetting, keep wasting time. But here's the warning. Methods are nothing without discipline. You can know every technique, but if you don't use them daily, your brain will slip back into laziness. So I am challenging you, yes, you, right now, to commit to just 15 minutes a day of memory training. 15 minutes of turning words into pictures, facts into stories, names into symbols. 15 minutes of sharpening your sword. Do this, and I promise you, in 3 months, people will look at you differently. In 6 months, you will look at yourself differently. In 1 year, you won't even recognize the old you. But let me ask, are you willing to fight for it? Or will you give up like the millions who complain about their weak memory but never change? The difference between success and failure is not knowledge. It is hunger. Hunger to improve, hunger to rise, hunger to remember. Think of your future self, you, sitting with your children or grandchildren, telling them stories with vivid detail. You, standing on a stage, speaking in fluent English, every word at your command. You, walking into an interview, answering with confidence because you remember every fact, every skill. That is possible. That is waiting. But it will not come to the lazy. It will not come to the distracted. It will only come to those who train. You have two choices. You can let your memory fade, let your mind rust, let your dreams dissolve into forgetfulness. Or you can rise. You can sharpen your mind until it shines. You can build a memory so powerful that it becomes your greatest ally. The choice is not tomorrow. The choice is now. So here's my command to you. Stop treating your brain like trash. Stop feeding it noise. Stop wasting it on endless scrolling. Start feeding it images, stories, emotions. Start practicing with intention. Start treating your memory like the priceless treasure it is. Because once it's gone, you cannot buy it back. David did it, Mark did it, millions of others have done it, and now it's your turn. No more excuses, no more delays, no more lies to yourself. If you truly want to boost your memory, if you truly want to remember everything, then stand up right now, in your mind, in your heart, and declare, I will no longer waste my brain. I will train it. I will master it. Because if you don't, life will pass you by. And one day you'll wake up, not only forgetting names or words, but forgetting who you could have been. And that, my friend, is the greatest tragedy of all. Let me tell you something most people never realize. Memory is not about storing information. It's about creating meaning. The things you remember most clearly are the ones that carried weight in your life. The things you forget are the ones you treated as unimportant. That means every time you forget an English word, every time you forget a lesson, every time you forget a promise you made to yourself, it's because you didn't give it enough meaning. And meaning is something you create, not something you wait for. Think back to your first day of school. You probably remember the smell of the classroom, the nervous excitement, maybe even the clothes you wore. Why? Because it mattered. Now think of what you had for lunch 2 weeks ago on a random Tuesday. You probably don't remember. Why? Because it didn't matter. Your brain is ruthless. It keeps what feels meaningful and deletes what feels disposable. So here's the secret. If you want to boost your memory, you must make everything you want to remember feel meaningful. This is why so many people fail at learning English. They write down a word on a list, repeat it like a robot, and expect it to stick. But their brain is whispering, this doesn't matter. So it throws it away. You must trick your brain into believing every new word is vital. How? By attaching it to emotion, to story, to imagination. When you connect a word to your life, your dreams, your feelings, your brain says, yes, this matters, and it holds on. Let me show you. Imagine you're learning the word courage. Don't just write it 10 times. Picture yourself standing on a cliff, looking down at the ocean, your heart racing. You take a deep breath, and you jump. That feeling, that leap, is courage. Tie the word to that moment, and you'll never forget it. Or take gratitude. Close your eyes and picture your mother's hands, tired but strong, placing food on the table for you. Feel the warmth, the love, the sacrifice. That feeling, that swell in your chest, is gratitude. Now the word is not just letters, it is life. That's how you remember. But let's go deeper. Memory isn't just about tricks. It's about identity. If you see yourself as someone with a weak memory, your brain will obey. If you see yourself as someone with a strong memory, your brain will rise to the role. So who are you? The person who forgets everything? Or the person who remembers everything? The choice is yours. Identity is powerful. When you shift your identity, your behavior follows. I remember meeting a man in his 40s who said, I have a bad memory. He repeated it like a mantra. He believed it so strongly that his brain gave up before it even tried. I told him, stop saying you have a bad memory. Start saying you are training your memory. Start saying you are building it. Because the words you speak become the reality you live. And you know what? He changed. Slowly, day by day, his memory improved, not because of magic, but because his identity shifted from victim to warrior. And you must do the same. Stop labeling yourself as forgetful. Stop telling people, I'm terrible with names. I can't remember anything. I'm too old to learn. Every time you say those words, you are programming your brain to fail. Speak power. Speak growth. Say, I am sharpening my memory. Say, I am a learner. Say, I remember easily. Repeat it until your brain believes it, because once your brain believes, your memory follows. Now, let's talk about repetition, not the boring kind, but the strategic kind. Your brain forgets quickly. Psychologists call it the forgetting curve. But here's the good news. Every time you review at the right interval, your brain holds on longer. This is called spaced repetition. Review after 1 day, then 3 days, then a week, then 2 weeks. Each time, the memory digs deeper. Imagine carving into stone. The first strike leaves a mark, but it fades. The second strike cuts deeper. The third strike engraves it forever. That's what repetition does. Mark used this method. When he learned the English word opportunity, he didn't just read it once. He reviewed it the next morning, then again 3 days later, then a week later. Each time, he built a stronger connection, and soon. Opportunity wasn't just a word. It was part of him, and opportunities did come because his brain was prepared to see them. So I'll give you a rule. Never learn something once. If it matters, review it. If it matters, repeat it. If it matters, make it impossible to forget. That's how champions build memory. But let's be honest. Sometimes you will feel tired. Sometimes you will feel like giving up. Sometimes your mind will whisper, why bother? It's too hard. That's the moment that separates the weak from the strong. The weak stop. The strong continue. And here's a truth you must engrave into your soul. The strongest memories are built not in moments of comfort, but in moments of resistance. Think of an athlete training in the rain. Muscles burning, lungs aching. That's where strength is forged. Your memory is the same. When you feel tired but keep going. When you feel distracted but pull yourself back. When you feel bored but persist, that's when your brain grows. That's when your memory transforms. So when the voice of laziness whispers, stop. Answer with fire, no, I will continue, because my future depends on this. I want you to remember something else. Every time you train your memory, you are not only remembering words or facts, you are remembering who you are. You are telling your brain, I am disciplined, I am strong, I am alive. That identity will spill into every area of your life, your work, your relationships, your dreams. Memory is not just a tool, it is a mirror. It shows you the truth about yourself. And here is the truth I want you to see. You are capable of more than you imagine. Your brain is vast, powerful, limitless. It can hold languages, stories, entire worlds. Do not insult it by saying, I can't. Do not waste it by saying, maybe later. Claim it, train it, use it, because your life will only rise as high as your mind. So I ask you again, who do you want to be? The person who drifts through life, forgetting, doubting, regretting, or the person who stands tall, sharp, unforgettable, unstoppable? The world does not need more forgetful souls. The world needs minds on fire, and you are one decision away from being that mind. Let me be brutally honest with you. The reason most people forget is not because their brain is broken, but because their life is filled with noise. Noise kills memory. Every time you scroll through meaningless content, every time you flood your brain with random videos, gossip, or endless distractions, you are burying the things that truly matter under mountains of garbage. Imagine writing a poem on the beach and then watching the tide wash it away. That's what happens to your thoughts when you drown them in noise. If you truly want to remember, you must fight for silence. You must carve out moments where your brain can breathe, where it can focus, where it can connect the dots. Without silence, memory has no space to grow. So here's a rule: create sacred time every day where your phone is off. The world is shut out, and it's just you and your thoughts. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever you can manage, guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. Now, let's talk about the power of visualization. Your brain doesn't think in words. It thinks in images. That's why you dream in pictures, not paragraphs. So if you want to remember, you must become a master of visualization. For example, let's take the word determination. Don't just write it. Picture yourself climbing a mountain, your body aching, your hands bleeding, but your eyes fixed on the peak. That scene is determination. The stronger the picture, the stronger the memory. When Mark practiced this, everything changed. Before, he would write lists of words and forget them within hours. After, he created mental movies, vivid, colorful, emotional. Each word became a character. Each fact became a story. His memory came alive. He didn't just learn English, he lived it. And once you live something, you can never forget it. But here's where many people fail. They try once, then quit. They say, "This feels silly," or "This takes too much effort." That's because they don't understand that memory training is like planting seeds. At first, it feels slow. You water the soil, but nothing grows. But if you stay consistent, one day you see a sprout, then another, then a field of green. Memory works the same way. The harvest is invisible at first, but if you persist, it will come, and it will be abundant. Now let's get practical. I want you to try this right now. Think of 5 new English words you've learned recently. Don't just repeat them. For each word, create a vivid picture. If the word is hope, imagine holding a candle in the dark, the flame flickering but never dying. If the word is strength, imagine lifting a giant stone above your head while lightning cracks behind you. If the word is patience, imagine a seed slowly breaking the soil, turning into a tree over years. Do you see it? Do you feel it? That's how you lock words into your brain forever. And if you're wondering, does this really work? Let me remind you, memory champions around the world use these exact techniques to memorize thousands of numbers, hundreds of names, entire decks of cards in minutes. They are not born different, they train differently, and now you are learning the same tools. But let me give you another secret. Movement boosts memory. When you sit still, your body is asleep, and so is your brain. But when you move, your brain lights up. That's why ancient scholars used to walk while reciting their lessons. That's why athletes remember plays better when they rehearse them physically. So here's a challenge. When you're memorizing English words, don't just sit there. Walk around, gesture with your hands, act out the meaning. If the word is run, actually run. If the word is whisper, lower your voice and lean in. Your body is a tool for memory. Use it. Let's return to David, the boy who was once laughed at in class. When he discovered movement, his learning doubled. He would pace his room, speaking the words aloud, acting them out. At first, it looked strange, but soon, he noticed that the words stuck. They weren't just in his head, they were in his muscles, his breath, his bones. His whole being remembered. That's why when he later gave speeches, he spoke with power, because his memory wasn't trapped on paper. It was alive inside him, and that's what I want for you. I don't want you to just know English words in your mind. I want you to embody them. I want them to flow from your mouth naturally, confidently. Without hesitation, I want your memory to be so strong that people look at you and say, "How do you do it?" And you'll smile, because you'll know. You trained, you fought, you earned it. But let's not pretend this is easy. Building memory is a battle, and every battle has resistance. You will face laziness. You will face boredom. You will face days where nothing seems to stick. But listen carefully, those are the days that matter most. Anyone can train when it's easy. The champions are forged when it's hard. The days you want to quit are the days your brain is begging you to push harder. If you can fight through those moments, your memory will grow beyond anything you imagined. So when you're tired, don't quit. When you're frustrated, don't stop. When you forget, don't curse yourself. Smile, because every struggle is proof that your brain is waking up. Stretching, building strength, every struggle is progress in disguise. And here's the most powerful truth. Your memory is not just about you, it's about your future. The better your memory, the faster you learn. The faster you learn, the more skills you gain. The more skills you gain, the more opportunities open. That means your memory determines your freedom, your success, your destiny. Forgetting is not harmless, it is costly, but remembering is priceless. So I ask you now, will you pay the price of laziness? Or will you invest in the treasure of memory? Will you waste your brain on noise? Or will you sharpen it into a weapon that carves your future? The decision is yours, and it must be made today, not tomorrow. Do you realize how much of your life depends on memory? Every conversation, every skill, every dream you chase is built on what you can recall. Without memory, you cannot love deeply because you would forget the moments that bond you. Without memory, you cannot succeed because you would forget the lessons that guide you. Without memory, you cannot even be yourself because who you are is the sum of everything you remember. That is why strengthening your memory is not just about passing exams or learning English. It is about protecting your identity, your purpose, your life. But let's get even more practical. There are 3 pillars you must master if you want a memory that never fails: attention, imagination, and repetition. We've already spoken about attention. It's the doorway to memory. If you don't notice, you can't recall. Imagination is the glue. It makes information stick. And repetition is the hammer, driving knowledge deep into the walls of your mind. Master these 3, and your memory will transform. Ignore them, and you'll keep stumbling in the dark. Let's dig into imagination, because this is where your brain truly comes alive. The human mind is a storyteller. It does not remember lists. It remembers journeys. This is why one of the oldest memory techniques in history is the memory palace. Ancient Greek orators used it to remember speeches. They imagined walking through a palace in their mind, placing each idea in a different room. Later, when they needed to recall, they simply walked through the palace again and picked up each memory. You can do the same. Picture your own house. Now imagine placing English words in different corners. Freedom could be sitting on your couch, shining like the sun. Wisdom could be standing in your kitchen, reading a book. Opportunity could be waiting at your front door, knocking again and again until you open. When you review, walk through your house in your imagination and collect each word. Suddenly, your home becomes a vault of knowledge. Mark used this technique. At first, it felt strange, almost childish, but soon he realized he could recall not just 10 words, but 50, then 100, then whole conversations. He built palaces in his mind, filled them with stories, and walked through them every day. His brain became a library, and people who once doubted him were stunned by his recall. Now let's talk about repetition. Most people repeat incorrectly. They cram everything in one night, hoping it will stick. But cramming is like pouring water on sand. It disappears. Spaced repetition, however, is like pouring water on seeds. Slowly, consistently, the roots grow. Review today, tomorrow, 3 days later, a week later. This rhythm trains your brain to hold information for years. It's not about how much you study in one day. It's about how often you return. David discovered this when he prepared for his first public speech. Instead of rehearsing for hours once, he practiced a little every day. Day 1, he stumbled. Day 2, it felt easier. By day 7, the words flowed naturally. On stage, he didn't just remember his lines, he owned them, and the applause proved it. That's the power of rhythm. That's the power of repetition. But let's face the hardest truth. You already know some of these methods. You've heard them before, yet you don't use them. Why? Because you are waiting for motivation to carry you. You are waiting for the perfect mood, the perfect time, the perfect energy. And that wait is killing you. Motivation is weak. Discipline is stronger. If you only train when you feel like it, you will fail. If you train no matter what, you will win. Think of an athlete running in the rain. Think of a soldier training in the cold. Do they feel like it every time? No, but they do it anyway, and that is why they are strong. Your memory demands the same discipline. On the days you feel tired, on the days you feel bored, those are the days that count most. Those are the days that forge a memory no storm can erase. Now let's bring this back to you. Imagine you've built this habit. Every morning, you review 10 English words using images. Every evening, you walk through your memory palace. Every week, you repeat what you've learned. After 1 month, you have a foundation. After 6 months, you have fluency. After 1 year, you have mastery. Do you see it? This is not a dream. This is a blueprint. All you must do is follow it. But you must also protect your brain, because even as you train, the world will attack your memory. Poor sleep, junk food, endless stress. These are enemies that weaken recall. If you stay up all night, your brain cannot store what you learned. If you drown yourself in sugar and processed food, your brain slows down. If you live in constant stress, your brain shuts down memory to survive. So if you want to boost your memory, treat your body with respect. Sleep deeply, eat clean, move daily, calm your mind. A sharp brain cannot live in a broken body. And here's the beautiful truth. Once you train your memory, life becomes easier. You stop struggling to remember names. You stop panicking in conversations. You stop wasting time relearning what you already studied. Every moment becomes lighter, freer, more powerful. And people notice. They look at you differently. They trust you more. Because someone who remembers is someone who is respected. But let me warn you, not everyone will celebrate your growth. Some people will envy it. Some will try to drag you back into laziness. They will laugh when you practice. They will call your methods silly. They will say, "Why try so hard?" Ignore them. They are scared of your discipline because it reminds them of their weakness. Do not let their weakness infect you. Stand firm. Train anyway, grow anyway, rise anyway. Because one day, when your memory shines, when you stand tall and unstoppable, those same people will come to you for help, and you will smile, not out of pride, but out of gratitude, for you chose the harder path, and it made you stronger. So I ask you again, are you ready to fight for your memory? Are you ready to build a mind so sharp that nothing can shake it? Or will you let the noise of the world steal it from you? The decision is in your hands, and the time is now. Memory is a gift, but it is also a responsibility. Think about it. Every single day, your brain records moments, lessons, emotions. Yet most of those memories are wasted, thrown away, forgotten. What if you treated every new word, every experience, every detail as treasure? What if you valued your memory as much as gold? Your life would change instantly. Because here's the truth. The quality of your life is shaped by the quality of your memory. People with strong memories learn faster, adapt quicker, succeed more. They are trusted, respected, admired. People with weak memories repeat mistakes, miss opportunities, and live in frustration. Which side do you want to stand on? Now, let's dive into one of the most powerful secrets of memory: association. Your brain remembers connections, not isolated facts. That's why when you smell a certain perfume, it instantly brings back the memory of someone you loved. That's why a song can transport you back to a moment years ago. The smell, the sound, the sight, these are associations, and you can use them intentionally. For example, if you want to remember the English word victory, don't just write it down. Picture yourself standing on a battlefield, raising a flag as the crowd cheers. Hear the roar, feel the pride. Connect it to a song that makes you feel powerful. That connection will lock the word in your memory forever. Mark used this when he struggled with verbs. Instead of memorizing run, jump, swim, he created a scene in his head. He imagined himself running across a field, then jumping into a river, then swimming toward the horizon. One picture, 3 verbs, burned into his mind. He never forgot them again. You can do the same with phrases. Take, never give up. Imagine yourself hanging from the edge of a cliff, your hands slipping, but you refuse to let go. You pull yourself up, gasping, victorious. That picture, that feeling, becomes the phrase, and the phrase becomes part of you. But let's be honest, this takes effort, and effort scares people. Most people want quick tricks, easy hacks, shortcuts. But shortcuts don't create mastery, they create mediocrity. If you truly want to boost your memory, you must be willing to put in the work. You must be willing to imagine, to connect, to repeat. Even when it feels uncomfortable, that discomfort is the price of growth. David understood this. When he was training, his friends mocked him. They saw him walking around his room, acting out words, creating wild stories, talking to himself. They laughed. But months later, when David stood on stage and delivered an entire speech from memory, word for word, without notes, the same friends sat in silence, jaws dropped. What once looked silly now looked extraordinary, because results silence ridicule, and you too will face this test. People will not understand your training. They may laugh, they may doubt, but if you keep going, your results will speak louder than their words. And when that day comes, you will not only remember everything, you will remember this moment, the moment you chose to rise above the crowd. Now, let's talk about emotion. Do you know why you remember your happiest days, your saddest moments, your most painful failures? Because emotion carves memory deep into your brain. Without emotion, memory fades. With emotion, memory burns. That means if you want to remember, you must feel. Don't just read words, experience them. Don't just learn facts, connect to them. When you feel what you study, you make it unforgettable. Try this with English. Take the word fearless. Don't just define it. Remember a time you faced something terrifying but stood your ground. Relive it. Let your heart race. That feeling, your courage, is the meaning of fearless. Now the word is not only in your head, but also in your heart, and you will never lose it. So here's the formula: attention, imagination, association, emotion, repetition. These 5 pillars form the foundation of unstoppable memory. Ignore them, and your brain will stay weak. Master them, and your memory will become a force of nature. but I need to shake you awake again, because some of you are still treating this like entertainment. You are nodding along, thinking, that sounds good, but not applying it. Stop. This is not just a video. This is a call to action. Your future depends on what you do after this. If you listen and change nothing, you will stay the same. If you listen and act, everything will shift. So here's your challenge. Today, before the sun sets, choose 10 words, 10 English words you want to master. Create images, create associations, create emotions. Review them tonight. Review them tomorrow. Then again in 3 days. Build the habit. Prove to yourself that you are serious, because the difference between dreamers and doers is action. Which are you? Do not wait until tomorrow. Do not say, I'll start next week. That is the language of weakness. Speak the language of strength. Say, I start now. Because every day you wait, you forget more. Every day you wait, your brain grows weaker. Every day you wait, you are giving away your future. And one day, you will wake up. And it will be too late. But imagine instead that you start now. Imagine 6 months later. You walk into a room, and your memory astonishes everyone. Imagine speaking English fluently, words flowing naturally, confidence radiating from you. Imagine never forgetting names, never losing details, never missing opportunities. That can be you, but only if you decide. The clock is ticking. Time is not your friend. Memory is your only defense against the erosion of time. Build it strong, and you will stand firm. Leave it weak, and you will crumble. Which destiny will you choose? Listen closely, because this is the moment of truth. You have heard the stories. You have learned the methods. You have felt the fire, but none of it matters unless you act. Memory is not built on wishes. It is built on decisions. And today, right now, you must decide what kind of person you will become. Will you continue drifting through life, forgetting, doubting, wasting? Or will you rise, sharpen your mind, and create a memory so powerful that nothing can shake you? The choice is in your hands, and it is the most important choice you will ever make, because your memory is not just about the past. It is about the future. What you remember today shapes who you will become tomorrow. Think of history's greatest leaders, thinkers, teachers. They remembered. They held vast knowledge in their minds, ready to use at any moment. They built nations, inspired generations, changed the world. Do you think they had perfect brains? No, they had trained minds. They treated memory as sacred, and that is why they left a mark that still echoes today. You may not rule a nation, you may not lead an army, but you rule your own destiny. You lead your own life, and if you master your memory, you will master yourself. That is the greatest victory of all. Now let me leave you with one more story. There was a man who lived an ordinary life. He worked hard, but he always felt limited. He forgot names, forgot details, forgot dreams. One day, sitting alone, he asked himself, "Is this all there is?" That question shook him. He decided to train his mind. Slowly, day by day. He practiced, he imagined, he repeated, he created stories. At first, nothing changed, but he persisted. Weeks turned into months. His memory grew stronger. His confidence grew brighter. People noticed. Opportunities opened. And one day, he realized something incredible. He was no longer ordinary. He had built a mind that was extraordinary. And his life followed. That man could be you. In fact, it must be you. Because the world is waiting, your family is waiting, your dreams are waiting, but they will not wait forever. If you do not act, time will close the door. If you do not act, life will move on without you. and you will be left with regret. So hear me now. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not too old, too busy, too distracted. You are powerful. You are capable. You are ready. All you need is the decision to begin. And once you begin, do not stop. Train your memory daily. Protect your focus fiercely. Feed your brain with meaning, not noise. Turn words into images, facts into stories, lessons into emotions. Repeat until it sticks. Repeat until it lives in you. Repeat until people cannot believe how much you remember. Do this, and your life will never be the same. And when the doubts come, and they will, silence them with action. When laziness whispers, skip today, answer with fire, no, I will fight. When fear says, you can't do this, shout back, watch me. Because the war for your memory is not won in comfort. It is won in resistance. It is won in persistence. It is won in the moments you refuse to quit. Now let's climb to the climax. Imagine standing on a stage, speaking in fluent English, every word sharp, every phrase natural, every idea alive. The audience is silent, hanging on your every word. You finish, and the room erupts in applause. That power, that freedom, that victory, that is what awaits you. But only if you choose to remember. Imagine another moment, years from now. Your child asks you for advice. You recall instantly the lessons you've learned, the stories you've lived, the wisdom you've earned. You share them with clarity, and your child looks at you with respect, with admiration, with love. That moment is priceless, and it begins with the choice you make today. So what will it be? Will you waste your mind, or will you wield it? Will you drift in forgetfulness, or will you rise in remembrance? The answer is not tomorrow. The answer is now. I will tell you one final truth. Dreams don't care about excuses. They don't care if you are tired, busy, or afraid. They only care if you act. And if you act, they will open to you. But if you delay, they will vanish. And you will be left asking, what if? Do not live in what if. Live in, I did. Live in, I conquered. Live in, I remembered. So here is my call to you. Start today. Train your memory. Build your future. Become unstoppable. And when you do, come back and tell me, I did it. I remember everything. And my life has changed forever. Because that is the destiny waiting for you. All you need is the courage to begin. And before you leave, if you want more lessons like this, lessons that will sharpen your mind, strengthen your spirit, and change your life, then subscribe right now. Stay with me, because this journey has only begun. And together, we will rise higher than we ever dreamed. The clock is ticking. Your future is calling. Don't forget it. Don't waste it. Remember it. And live it.